The story begins with the dull and boring life of a young boy named Reinhardt. He has been bullied in school almost every day and spends the night gaming or binge watching. Reinhardt is just spending very dull and lifeless days and nights. He has been living like this for almost 5 years back. However, one fine night, a sudden outburst of bright dazzling light emerges from his cell phone screen. It is a very weird phenomenon which he had never witnessed before. An adorable fairy congratulates him in a heavenly world and informs him about the mesmerizing reincarnation. He has been selected to be reborn in another world and spend life to the fullest in his new world. He is excited and amazed to get a second chance to transform his life into a new and prosperous life. Reinhardt just wants to get rid of his aimless and boring life, so he begs to start the reincarnation. Reinhardt's wish has been fulfilled. He is born into a royal family. He is shocked that he has to build his life from infancy all the way around. He is born as a baby boy in his second life. He has the powers and magical skills the fairy mentioned before reincarnation, which he can use to live a fantasy life. Prince Reinhardt is born with a unique mark on his chest, proving his royalty. The king is so delightful that his prince has been born with special royalty genes. The king is so hopeful that his level of magical assessment will be around 40 to 50. Because Prince Reinhardt is born with the glorious history of his mother and father. They both defeat the Demon King and possess flash magic. So Prince Reinhardt must possess a level of 50 or higher. Hence, the mysterious lady starts the assessment process. The strongest mana power and a bursting wind blow predict the expected results. Hence, the face of the king turns red with anger when the results come out. The magical level of Prince Reinhardt is only 2, with no elemental possession at all. The king is furious and commands him to throw the baby into the forest. They also claim that Prince Reinhardt died in front of the nation during birth. Reinhardt is wondering what a shitty life he has got even now. He is unloved and cursed even on the first day of his second life. The assessment lady tries to make the king reconsider the decision, but he has decided to dispose of the child, and he is not having a second thought about it. It is a shame for the king to have a baby with no magical and elemental possession. While the fairy is already watching all this, she freaks out to hear the king's decision. She shares the confusion with a mate. She exclaims that the boy was blessed with level 1002, but for some reason, the measuring device cannot predict it right. Also, she forgets to bless the Prince Reinhardt with an element. Hence the Prince Reinhardt is no longer a prince, and he is thrown into the forest. He can't speak and walk, but he can think exactly like an adult in his previous life. Reinhardt is a baby just by the body but not by the brain. His memory is intact, and his logical reasoning is developed. Reinhardt is trying to get up and walk but can't, which is frustrating. So, he thinks of giving his barrier magic a go. He doesn't even know what his level is and how to use that magic. Still, he tries. Suddenly, a spherical cube starts emerging in the sky with the mana he is using. Reinhardt can see through the cube and even modify it into a flexible matter so easily. He can even change its shape and color. While experimenting with his secret magical skills, he tries it on himself. He entraps himself in the cube and flies in the air. While wondering if this magic could be helpful with wild animals, the huge doggy comes across and growls at him in an instant. He shouts the defense, and a magical cube saves him from the fierce teeth of the doggy. So he creates multiple cubes and throws them at the doggy. But nothing works much. So, he takes out the trees from their roots and causes damage to the doggy by thrashing them at it. The doggy gets stuck into the trees and stutters back to get rid of them. Reinhardt thinks of it as a challenge and takes out a large part of a thrusting stone and throws it. The doggy shouts to surrender after witnessing the powers of Reinhardt, but he can't process its voice initially. It is a shock that a doggy can speak like humans. While the stone is about to crush it into pieces, it shouts a bit louder and begs for mercy. Reinhardt is in great shock to see a doggy speaking and considers its apology. It has been rescued. Hence, while engaging in a conversation, the doggy regrets its faulty decision of eating a baby like him. Reinhardt notices that he can't speak and finds it annoying. So he decides to create a barrier magic to convert his thinking into voice. Then he thinks of attaching it to his throat. And finally, he gets his voice. Reinhardt changes his name to a more friendlier and less mouthful. So, he named himself Haruto. He exclaims that the king throws him into the forest due to less mana power. But even the doggy notices a flood of mana power replenishing out of his body. The doggy realizes that his mana power is even exceeding human capabilities. So he concludes that he might be the Demon King because this much power can only be possessed by him. Haruto can't lose the charisma of his personality, so he claims that he is actually the Demon King while knowing that he is not. Also, he doesn't want to express that he is the unloved loser in both lives. The doggy presents itself to die at the prestigious hands of the Demon King, but Haruto spares its life. The doggy is amazed to see the generosity, so it promises to never hurt him in the future. While leaving, Haruto calls the doggy Flay and greets it well, which is an astonishing fact. The doggy really likes its new name, Flay, so Flay decides to devote its life to Haruto. Also, it calls him his master and names him Lord Haruto, by considering his generosity and powers. However, Haruto doesn't want all this slavery and mastership. Anyhow, he loses the power and blacks out. He is famished and asks for his mother's milk. Flay is into his services from head to toe, so it generates a bright light. From behind the splendid light, a beautiful lady appears. Flay has turned to a lady for her master's wish, but he is shy to see the lady Flay naked, so he grants her some clothes to wear. However, Flay notices someone's steps approaching them. So, Haruto creates a barrier and attaches it to his mouth and Flay's ear, so they can keep up with the communication. An armed man from the king's nation is here to save the child, but Flay stands in between and refuses to give him to the man. However, the armed man insists on taking the child, but Flay tries to stick to its master-companion relationship. Hence, the armed man takes out a pouch of mother's milk and presents it to Haruto. He asks Flay to feed him the mother's milk because he might be famished, but Flay refuses to take it. Haruto tries to convince it through the barrier magic and requests to take the milk, but Flay keeps on ignoring his voice. Flay refuses to take his favor because she wants him to feed him with her own milk. The armed man suggests making a deal with him. According to this deal, Flay will be the attendant of the Haruto hired by the armed man. In this way, she can live near Haruto and take care of him, while the armed man rescues the child from dying in the forest. Also, he explains that he lost his newborn baby recently, which has created a soft corner for Haruto in Flay's heart. By listening to the distressing story of the armed man, she agrees to make a deal with him. The armed man destroys the crib with his axe and tries to subterfuge the event. He also splits the fake blood on the crib to present a fake story to the king. Hence, 9 years have passed, and Haruto has grown up to be a young boy. He is living with a very lovable and kind family. Flay is with him in all these years and takes care of him by all means. Haruto's parents love him very much. The only disturbing thing in the family is that he has been hated by his cute little sister. However, Flay presents them with the soup. The cute little sister is fond of playing with Flay and likes her very much. Flay refuses to play with Charlotte, the little sister of Haruto, because she has to take care of him. But Haruto requests her to play with Charlotte. Flay agrees, and Haruto is sad about the hate he is getting from his sister. His mother interrupts his thoughts and suggests doing something special for his sister. She also explains that Charlotte might find him older and doesn't know how to behave with a boy. Haruto concludes that Charlotte might think that he is a boy 30 years old. He freaks out to think like that, but his mother calms him down. She suggests him involve Charlotte in social situations. Also, make her realize that he is a reliable brother so that she can change her heart about him. Haruto agrees to think about it whether he knows that he is bad at social situations. However, Haruto has created a robotic copy of himself which can't talk and speak with all the training and research with barrier magic, because he wants to leave the nest one day. But he is concerned about Flay. She is just living her life for the sake of Haruto, but if he leaves her, she will die. Although, the robotic copy is not worthy of solving his problem, so he should also create a doll of Flay if he wants to leave the house without making them sad. In the meantime, his father asks him to come along, because he wants to teach him swordsmanship. His father is concerned that his mana level is so low, so he should focus on other skills to excel in life. But Haruto shows his interest in researching ancient magic. His father accepts his least interest in swordsmanship, but he still insists on learning it. Haruto's father is famous as an earth-shattering warhammer with the title of a seasoned warrior. He embarks on a mesmerizing light emitting from his body. He puts a magic barrier around his body to limit his physical powers, but he forgets to wrap it against his sword. So his first move is limiting his age and mana level. He seems suspicious, and even he dodges his father's second move. The way he dodges the move is beyond level, nearly 30 seconds. Hence, they continue the training ignoring his extravagant abilities as compared to his low mana level. Despite this fact, Haruto observes his mana level on the Mija's crystal again and again. Every time, it shows the number 2, so he concludes that he is surely at level 2 because the maximum level a human can achieve is 77, according to the literature of ancient magic. There is no way his level can be in the thousands, but the reality shows the opposite. Also, he convinces the fact by thinking that his birth without an element possession is the reason behind his efficiency with magic. During a conversation among the Haruto's parents, his father claims that he might be a reincarnated demon, because the royal family holds many secrets which give an account of returning of a demon. He claims that his birth in the royal family may be the reason for his exceptional skills, but the secrets of the family are connected with the reincarnation. Those born with exceptional traits might possess the Demon King's spirit. Hence, Haruto's insignia at the chest also clarifies the fact. One thing which also connects the dots is that Flay keeps an eye on him all the time. Also, she takes care of him like a shadow, which can bring the fact that he is a reborn demon. His mother is so much concerned about his son. She disagrees that he has no horns and tail, so he is not a demon. His father also thinks the same, but they are scared about the future of their son. However, the father explains that the birthmark holds significant powers which are incomprehensible. Still, they believe that their son is a normal boy. Little Charlotte, who is pretending to sleep in her mother's lap, also hears the whole conversation. She is also concerned about his brother. Like this video and let me know in the comment if you are excited for next episode.